5 verses, you have completed the 6th verse. Learning all the verses. दृष्टै स्वभावजनितैव पुषश्च दोषै न प्राकृतत्वमिह भक्तजनस्य पश्ये गङ्गाम्बसां न खलु बुद्बुदकेन पङ्खैः ब्रह्मद्रोत्तमपगच्छति नीरधर्मैः. I still remember when we were doing the Shastri. It was not termed as Bhakti Shastri. These 4 books we have to study. One of the devotee was only in this Buddha. He was completely attacked there. No Buddha. He could not pronounce the verses beyond that. All the time Buddha used to do. Anyway, somebody write the message, join the class, Tariki. Aruna, you write the message. Class has started, join the class. If I take break, I'll take more break. दृष्टै स्वभावजनितै वपुषश्च दोषै न प्राकृतत्वम् इह भक्तजनस्य पश्येत् गङ्गाम्भसां न खलु बुद्बुदफेन पङ्कैर् ब्रह्मद्रवत्वम् अपगच्छति नीरधर्मैः. Getting all the words? Just see that English in the Devanagari font is there. Balram font. See the Balram font? If you see the Devanagari form, it is all joined together, so it will be very difficult. So Balram font becomes very easy. Drishtai Sabhava Janitai Ushascha Doshai Na Prakrutattvamiha Bhakta Janasya Pashed Gangambasam Nakalu Budbuda Fena Bankair Brahma Dravatvam Apagachati Niradharmai. Shilpa, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Drishtai svabhavajanitai doshair na prakritatvam iha bhakta janasya paschait gangam bhasam na khalu buddhafiner pankhair
Fena
pankhair brahma dravatvam apagat
Brahma up 9 foot. Brahma dravatvam apagachati niradharmaihi.
Brahma dravatvam apagachati niradharmaihi.
Very good. So drishtai svabhava jante vapushascha doshai. Svabhava jante. Everyone is born of one's own nature. Everybody gets the body accordingly. So a person should not be identified with the body. Na prakritatvam, as the state of being material, especially for pure devotee. Pure devotee should not be identified by seeing the body. So he is situated in Krishna consciousness. Bhakta janasya pashet. He is situated in Krishna consciousness. Such a devotee should not be identified with materialistic point of view. So somebody is born in a low family. Somebody is born with a body of bad complexion. Somebody has a deformed body. Somebody has a diseased body. So, but that doesn't mean that he is identified with that body and his devotion is identified with that particular form he has got. He may have got a deformed body, but he is doing pure devotional service. That is why pure devotees are not identified with a particular type of body. Somebody must be born in a low family. Somebody may be born with a deformed body, diseased body. Okay. Yeah, bad complexion. Somebody may be very black. Somebody may be very fair. So devotees are not identified. Suppose somebody is very black, you will not say, you are not looking bright. Oh, see, there is somebody who is very fair. Oh, he has so much of brightness in his face. And somebody, bichara, is very black. You cannot expect some brightness in the face, but still, brightness is not dependent on the color. Again, a pure devotee, even though he may be black in color, he may maybe wheatish or blackish in color. But the devotion is seen in his face. The brightness automatically is seen. That's why he's not seen with the color. He is seen with the japa, the devotion he's doing. Now the comparison is given with Ganga, Basam, Lakan, Buddha, Fena, Pankaj. Like you come to the banks of Ganga and you say, now Ganga hai. Especially when you go to Vrindavan, you find all the bubbles and type of algae and all those things, moss, covering Yamuna, covering the Kunda. What to do? That doesn't mean that water has become bad. The water never becomes bad. The name which was given Ganga Teri, Ganga Teri, Ram Teri Ganga Mai. It's completely wrong. Ganga can never become Meli because Ganga is always pure. People are putting the dust. That doesn't mean that Ganga loses its purity. So, identifying Ganga with some bubbles of foam and mud is completely wrong because Ganga is completely transcendental in nature. Apagacchati niradharmi. It can never be polluted, especially in the rainy season. The down water, the down mud comes up. It seems that the river is flowing, muddy river is flowing. It's not muddy. Ganga can never become muddy. That is the river. The same way, devotees though born in deformed body or a bad color, it doesn't degrade one's devotion. Okay. So read the translation, read the purpose. You read the purpose for 2 pages.
Okay. Being situated in his original Krishna conscious position, a pure devotee does not identify with the body. Such a devotee should not be seen from a materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee's having a body born in a low family, a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. According to the ordinary vision, such imperfections may seem prominent in the body of a pure devotee. But despite such seeming defects, the body of a pure devotee cannot be polluted. It is exactly like the waters of the Ganges, which sometimes during the rainy season are full of bubbles, foam, and mud. The Ganges waters do not become polluted. Those who are advanced in spiritual understanding will bathe in the Ganges without considering the condition of the water. Purport. Shuddha Bhakti. The activity of the soul, proper, in other words, engagement, is the transcendental loving service of the Lord, is performed in a liberated condition. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Mam chayo o vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sa gunan samti samattityaitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who
A devotee is always transcendental in nature. He is Saguna, he is not affected by the three modes of material nature. Read.
One who engages in full devotional service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the mode of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. Avya, Avyabhicharini bhakti means unalloyed devotion. A person engaged in devotional service must be free from material motives. In this Krishna conscious movement, one's consciousness must be changed. If consciousness is aimed towards material enjoyment, it is material consciousness. And if it is aimed towards serving Krishna, it is Krishna consciousness. A surrendered soul serves Krishna without material consideration. Anya bhilashita shunyam. Jnana karmadi anavritam. Unalloyed devotional service, which is transcendental to the activities of the body and mind, such as jnana, mental speculation, and karma, fruitive work, is called pure bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga is a proper activity of the soul, and when one actually engages in unalloyed uncontaminated devotional service, he is already liberated. Sagunan samtit yaitan. Krishna's devotee is not subjected to material condition, even though his bodily features may appear materially conditioned. One should therefore not see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view. Unless one is actually a devotee, he cannot see another devotee perfectly. As explained in the previous verse, there are three types of devotees: Kanishtha Adhikari, Madhyama Adhikari, and Uttama Adhikari. The Kanishtha Adhikari cannot distinguish between a devotee and non devotee. He is simply concerned with worshipping the deity in the temple. A Madhyama Adhikari, however, can distinguish between the devotee and non devotee, as well as between the devotee and the Lord. Thus, he treats the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee, and the non devotee in different ways. No one should criticize the bodily defects of a pure devotee. If there are such defects, they should be overlooked. What should be taken into account is the spiritual master's main business, which is devotional service, pure service to the Supreme Lord. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Apicheta Sudarar Charo Bhajate
दुराचारो भजते माम् अनन्यभाव साधुरेव समन्तव्य सम्यक् व्यवस्थितो हि सः. Here, okay, let me see. That मां च योग विचारेण भक्ति योगेन सेवते सगुणान् समतीतेतान् ब्रह्मभूयाय कल्पते. Very clearly it has been said. Whoever is doing avabhicharani bhakti. Avabhicharani bhakti means there is no interruption. There is no personal motives. He is doing unalloyed devotional service in every circumstances. That person always transcends the three modes of material nature. Then, Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Now, Kanishta doesn't know to distinguish between devotee and non-devotee. But Madhyama knows. But those who are Uttama, they don't differentiate. They know how to deal. At the same time, they see everyone as a part and parcel of love. So, Apichase Vidurachara, even if there is a fall down, a small fall down for a pure devotee, it is not considered as a big offense. Yes, Aruna?
Mataji, I just wanted to understand one line in this paragraph. One should therefore not see a pure devotee from a materialistic point of view unless one is actually a devotee. He cannot see another devotee perfectly. How we can identify we became a devotee or not? Then we can see others. No, Mataji?
Oh, yeah, that is why one should be under the guidance. Simple. One cannot identify until unless he becomes a devotee. Till that time, very difficult to identify another devotee. That is why Guru Shishya Parampara is required. On our own, we cannot do. We cannot say he's a pure devotee. Because you have to identify whether I am a pure devotee to identify somebody as a pure devotee. Apiche Suduracharo Bhajate Mamananya Bhav Sadhu Samantavya Samyak Vyasita. Sudura Achar, somebody has done some accidental fall down has happened. But that doesn't mean, but he is doing Ananya Bhakta. He's an Ananya Bhakta. Accidental fall downs happen because of previous life impressions. Still, Krishna says, I consider him as a son. Okay. Anita Mataji, read from there. Even though if your devotee may not be king, may not be born, Brahmana or Gosavi family, it's better.
Even if a devotee sometimes seems to engage in abominable activities, he should be considered a sadhu, a saintly person, because his actual identity is that of one engaged in the loving service of Lord. In other words, he is not to be considered an ordinary human being. Even though a pure devotee may not be born in a Brahmana or a Goswami family, if he is engaged in the service of Lord, he should not be neglected. In actuality, there cannot be a family of Goswamis based on material consideration, caste, or heredity.
So
The Goswami type.
There are people who have identified themselves as Goswamis. It is not family name. It is a quality. If he knows to control the senses, then he's Goswami. Okay. Continue.
Yeah. The Goswami title is actually the monopoly of pure devotees. Thus, we speak of six Goswamis headed by Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami. Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami had practically become Mohammedans and had therefore changed their names to Dabira Khasa and Sakara Malika, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself made them Goswamis. Therefore, the Goswami title is not hereditary. The word Goswami refers to one who can control his senses, who is master of the senses. A devotee is not controlled by the senses but is controller of the senses. Consequently, he should be called Swami or Goswami even though he may not be born in Goswami family. According to this formula, the Goswami who are descendant of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Advaita Prabhu are certainly devotees, but devotees coming from other families should not be discriminated against. Indeed, whether the devotee comes from a family of previous acharyas or from an ordinary family, they should be treated equally. One should not think, oh, here is an American Goswami and discriminate against him. Nor one should think, here is a Nityananda Vamsa Goswami. There is an undercurrent of protest against our awarding the title Goswami to American Vaishnavas of Krishna consciousness movement. Sometimes people flatly tell the American devotees that their sannyasas or the title of Goswami is not bona fide. However, according to the statement of Srila Rupa Goswami in this verse, an American Goswami and a Goswami in a family of acharyas are non-different. On the other hand, a devotee who has attained the title of Goswami but is not born of a Brahmin father or of a Goswami in the family of Nityananda or Advaita Prabhu should not be artificially puffed up by thinking that he has become a Goswami. He should always remember that as soon as he becomes materially puffed up, he immediately falls down. This Krishna consciousness movement is a transcendental science and there is no room for jealousy. Therefore, this movement is meant for the Paramhansas who are completely free from all jealousies. Paramam Nirmat Sharanam. One should not be jealous whether he is born in a family of Goswamis or has a title of Goswami awarded to him. As soon as anyone becomes envious, he falls from the platform of Paramhansa. If we consider the bodily defects of a Vaishnava, we should understand that we are committing an offense at the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is very serious. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described this offense as Hatimata, the mad elephant offense. A mad elephant can create a disaster, especially when it enters into a nicely trimmed garden. One should therefore be very careful not to commit any offense against a Vaishnava. Every devotee should be ready to take instructions from a superior Vaishnava, and a superior Vaishnava must be ready to help an inferior Vaishnava in all respect. One is superior or inferior according to his spiritual development in Krishna consciousness. One is forbidden to observe the activities of a pure Vaishnava from a material point of view. For the neophyte, especially considering a pure devotee from a material point of view is very injurious. One should therefore avoid observing a pure devotee externally, but should try to see the internal features and understand how he is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In this way, one can avoid seeing the pure devotee from a material point of view, and thus one can gradually become a purified devotee himself.
This is the
Those
answer
who
for you. Answer was what? How to become a pure devotee. One should be under the guidance. And then only slowly, not judging a person with our materialistic point of view, especially when we join new and you're under the guidance of a Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. At that time, trying to find faults in one's own Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, trying to find faults in other devotees. So externally, one should not see the activities. One should see their dedication. That is why it is the experience which a person has. And that decides, and that too, not only experience, his surrenders to his Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. That's most important. How to understand whether my instructor is in a proper channel. Because if my instructor is under his instructor, and his instructor is under his instructor, then it's a proper thing. So trying to find out fault in that will always degrade us and will not allow us to really relish so many things in Krishna service. Okay. Okay.
Continue,
next.
Mataji.
Yeah, okay.
Those who think that Krishna consciousness is limited to a certain section of people, a certain section of devotees, or a certain tract of land are generally prone to see the external features of the devotees. Such neophytes, unable to appreciate the exalted service of the advanced devotee, try to bring the Mahabhagavata to their platform. We experience such difficulty in propagating this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by neophytes.
Neophytes, they try to see the devotee as per their understanding. So it's a very wrong thing. When a person is in the neophyte stage, he should be very, very careful, especially very careful in judging one's spiritual master. Spiritual master, when you say it, just doesn't mean Diksha Guru, it means Shiksha Guru also, who takes trouble to, like, you show a nice place, you take them to yatras, you teach them, and then you find fault in the person who really takes you, brings you ahead. And just because we started chanting, we started reading books, we immediately tried to find out faults, and we did not see the sacrifice which the Shiksha Guru, his Shiksha Guru, they have done. So it's very wrong. That is why in the level of neophyte, never try to judge one's Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru with the materialistic point of view. Okay.
God brothers who do not appreciate the extraordinary activities of spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. They simply try to bring us to their platform and they try to criticize us in every respect. We very much regret their naive activities and poor fund of knowledge. An empowered person.
God brothers, Prabhupada writing about his God brothers. If God brothers never understood what really Prabhupada wanted to do, they were criticizing Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was completely left alone. And his God brothers had Gaudiya marts, all the facilities, especially after Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur left. They all tried to take some positions, but Prabhupada was practically blank, nothing. He had no temples, nothing. But still Prabhupada's faith in his Guru that made him successful. What is happening in Gaudiya marts? Now he's just sleeping. With one devotee practically struggling. No one to preach. Why? Well, they did not follow what their Guru told. Most of the Gaudiya marts are really suffering like because the preaching movement for which Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur established 64 marts, that was not taken into consideration. Everybody wanted Gaddi positions. But Prabhupada, he never asked for any position, did not desire any position. He just left and did what his Guru wanted. Yeah.
An empowered person who is actually engaged in the confidential service of Lord should not be treated as an ordinary human being, for it is stated that unless one is empowered by Krishna, one cannot spread Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. When one does,
somebody is preaching, how it is preached, why they are preaching, why they are able to do everything. Just because he is empowered, simple. If Krishna's mercy is there, then only you can do everything. But I was just thinking, we all went to yatras, we went to 24 divination this time. Actually, it was such a thick schedule. Still, all devotees were enthusiastic. After coming, I was just contemplating What is that power in the yatra? How it is happening? After coming, everybody is tired, but in the yatra, everybody is so active. Morning 3 o'clock, everyone is to wake up. One place in Guruvayur, we didn't sleep on. It was night out. It was night out because 2 o'clock itself, Nirmalya Darshan ticket counter. Night Sevani Darshan happened till 11 o'clock. Temple closed by 11:30. Everybody were night out. Still, everybody are enthusiastic. Just 1 hour sleep, 2 hours sleep. So what is that special power? It's Krishna's mercy. And in that small Nayana Manjari is also there, 5 years baby. She is also active. Old man of 74, 75 is also active. That means without Krishna's mercy, such things can never happen. We go somewhere, we become so tired. But in Yatra, so how it's happening? It's all because of Krishna's mercy. How is it that so many devotees are serving for so long? Only Krishna's mercy. That's why it is given. Without Krishna's mercy, such things can never happen. Yeah, last paragraph. Gita, you can read last paragraph.
Hare Krishna. Unfortunately, we are surrounded by neophyte God brothers who do not
We have done
appreciate the
that. We cannot read that. Last paragraph. When one thus criticizes a pure
when
devotee,
one thus criticizes a pure devotee, he commits an offense, Vaishnava Aparadha, that is very obstructive and dangerous for those who desire to advance in Krishna consciousness. A person cannot derive any spiritual benefit when he offends the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Everyone should therefore be very careful not to be jealous of an empowered Vaishnava or a Shuddha Vaishnava. It is
it happens, jealousy,
also
because
an
jealousy,
offense.
we have seen, I've seen how much jealousy happens within the temple itself, trying to degrade, trying to find faults. But that is not going to affect the person who has been pointed out. In fact, his preaching will increase. It only affects those people who have done this, trying to find out faults in one's own Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru. I have seen pure devotees like Shiksha Guru, they are blamed for no reason. They are blamed for, but afterwards they preach, they become successful. One who finds out fault, they degrade themselves. Yeah.
It is also an offense to consider an empowered Vaishnava an object of disciplinary action. It is offensive to try to give him advice or to correct him. One can distinguish between a neophyte Vaishnava and an advanced Vaishnava by their activities. The advanced Vaishnava is always situated as the spiritual master, and the neophyte is always considered his disciple. The spiritual master must not be subjected to the advice of a disciple, nor should a spiritual master be obliged to take instructions from those who are not his disciples. This is the sum and substance of Srila Rupa Goswami's advice in the sixth verse.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
So this is the advice. Who is the loser? Who loses? Anyhow, one who is empowered preaches. One who finds out faults remains behind. Simple. So who is the loser? We are not able to relish. See, the day when we join, when we come in contact with the devotee, especially your Shiksha Guru, Diksha Guru, that is a day when our heart was very pure. Then we try to think a lot and do some services and think that we have become the best devotees. Some small services we get and we think that we are running the temple. But then what happens? That pride, the fault finding tendency keeps us much behind. What we used to relish in our simple dealings, that relishment went. So that is why it is very important to understand. Rupa Goswami says, never find a fault in a pure devotee. Who is a poor devotee? Pure devotee. One who is struggling hard in Krishna consciousness, trying to preach. See, nobody is earning anything. Do you think somebody is earning? You tell me, my Shiksha Guru is commercial group. Is he earning? How much efforts is taking to preach to the whole world? Is he earning anything? No. But people try to find a fault in him. Then what happens? When they try to find a fault in him, they get too far behind. But this person who's and preaches everywhere. My Diksha Guru, how much trouble he has taken. People try to find fault in him, but he's preaching, he preached everywhere. Especially when he left his body, the whole practically so many 2 lakh people he met. When he was preaching, there were so many struggles which came. In any preacher, when he takes a preaching activity, understands the mercy of Krishna. And Diksha Guru used to ask me, Narayana, you have any problem? I said, no, Maharaj. He said, I like this. I used to never complain anything to my Maharaj. My nature is I used to never say anything to Guru Maharaj because he comes sometimes and that he tells all the problems to the Guru Maharaj. It's not good. So just see, every preacher, whoever is in the preaching task, he has to, and who has taken the responsibility, it's not just preaching, responsibility of taking care of a temple, taking care of a project. For everyone, it is a challenge. It is a challenge. And in that challenge, it is only the mercy which comes to use. There will be people who will join and suddenly they will even go. Another new set of people will come. You spend a lot of energy, time in that person. Again, that person will leave. Again, somebody will come, retain. There will be like this challenges coming, but the preaching activities never stop. People will come, people will go. That doesn't matter. Preaching activities remain. From that, you should understand how much courage the preacher has. Sometimes somebody goes, somebody doesn't talk to us. We feel very bad, isn't it? Our only family members, they don't talk to us. They leave us and go. Then we'll be so upset. But just imagine how much big heart a preacher must have. How much forgiving heart a preacher must have. How much time he spends on particular devotees. Showing them, treating them so nicely, caring them, and suddenly they leave and go. For any stupid reasons. But there is no reason for it. But just imagine how big heart the preacher must be having. Srila Prabhupada, when he went to the West, there were only 14 people. He cultivated them practically for 2 years. And after 2 years, he had more devotees. But suddenly some devotees left Prabhupada and went. Prabhupada says, okay, I'll wait for you. Only line Prabhupada says, I'll wait for you. But Prabhupada's preaching activities did not stop. Those who were left with Prabhupada, they really enjoyed with Prabhupada. And still they're enjoying with Prabhupada. And they will continue enjoying with Prabhupada. So this is the strength which Krishna gives to the preacher. Now, seventh one again is so wonderful verse. Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Vitto Pataptala Sanastana Rochikanu Utwadarat Anudinam Khalu Saiva Jushta Swadvi Kramad Bhavati Tatkadu Lahantri Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sukirtanat Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya PYA. Okay? Syat Krishna Nama Charitadi Sitapya Vidya Vitto Pataptara Sanasya Narochikanu Vitto Pataptara Sanasya Narochikanu Kintva Darad Anudinam Kalusaiva Jushta Kintva Darad Anudinam Kalusaiva Jushta Swadvi Kramad Bhavati Tatkadamula Hantri. Now, what is the work of a preacher? He engages everyone in chanting Krishna's name. Now, Krishna's name, Syat Krishna Nama Charita Adihi. That means, when you say I love Krishna, I should love his name, I should love his form, I should love his activities, I should love his qualities, I should love his devotees. Then I can say, yes, I love Krishna. But it so happens because of avidya, ignorance, pitta uptaha, pittopatapta. It is pitta upataptaha, rasanasya rochikanu. He is not so out of ignorance, he is so afflicted, like how the tongue doesn't have the taste because of jaundice. Jaundice is nothing but pitta disease. When your pitta rises more, then jaundice comes. So then, in that jaundice, a person doesn't have a good tongue. He cannot taste sweetness. In the same way, this ignorance is compared with pitta, utapta. Like jaundice, but because of ignorance, this ignorance is compared to the disease jaundice. He is not able to taste the holy name. But adarata anudinam. If a person carefully chants every day, 24 hours daily, gives it 24 hours. At least 2 hours of minimum 16 rounds. The person does that every day. How many of you don't chant 16 rounds? Just raise your hands. How many of you do not chant 16 rounds? Raise your hand. At least start from this verse, chanting 16 rounds. So you should do that. Anika, are you chanting 16 rounds? Aruna Upadhyay, are you chanting 16 rounds?
Yes,
Yes, I
Mataji.
do.
Geeta,
Mataji, here I want to change. My name is Sudha. Actually, this is my daughter's name, and
yeah,
it's
I
been fed in.
change the name or what?
No, I want to change it. My name is Sudha. I'll ask her
I
to
knew
change
that
it.
your name is Sudha. I thought your another name is also Anika.
No, that is my elder daughter's
Aditya,
name.
are you chanting 16 rounds?
Mataji, I am chanting every day 16 rounds, sometimes 32 rounds.
Maybe. Aditya, are you chanting 16 rounds? Aditya is not in the class.
Yes, Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Okay. So, it is said here, if you practice every day chanting 16 rounds, Jushta Swati Kramata Bhavati Tadudadamudahanti. Automatically, it will give the taste to the holy name. One is mechanical chanting. Even if you start mechanical chanting, it's not a problem. But slowly, when we practice very nicely, Harinam reveals, and in this way, removes all our anarthas. Okay? Gita Mataji chant the words and read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Ya Krishna Nama Charitadisita Vidya Nittopadattarasanasya Narojiganu Kindvadaratanudinam Kalu Saiva Jushta Swadvikramat Bhavati Tadgadamula Khandri. Translation: the holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of one afflicted by the jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue, and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. Purport: Lord Krishna's holy name, qualities, pastimes, and so forth are all of the nature of absolute truth, beauty, and bliss. Naturally, they are very sweet like sugar candy, which appeals to everyone. Nisine, however, is compared to the disease called jaundice, which is caused by bilious secretions. Attacked by jaundice, the tongue of a deceased person cannot palatably relish sugar candy. Rather, a person with jaundice considers something sweet to taste very bitter. Avidya, ignorance, similarly perverts the ability to relish the transcendently palatable name, qualities, form, and pastimes of Krishna. Despite this disease, if one with great care and attention takes to Krishna consciousness, chanting the holy name and hearing Krishna's transcendental pastimes, his ignorance will be destroyed and his tongue enabled to taste the sweetness of the transcendental nature of Krishna and his paraphernalia. Such a recovery of spiritual health is possible only by the regular cultivation of Krishna consciousness. When a man in the material world takes more interest in the materialistic way of life than in Krishna consciousness, he is considered to be a diseased condition. The normal condition is to remain an eternal servant of the Lord, Jivera Swarupa Bhaya Krishnera Nityadasa. This healthy condition is lost when the living entity forgets Krishna due to being attracted by the external features of Krishna's Maya energy. Maya energy. This world of Maya is called Durasraya, which means false or bad shelter. One who puts his faith in Durasraya becomes a candidate for hoping against hope. In the material world, everyone is trying to become happy, and although their material attempts are baffled in every way due to their nescience, they cannot understand their mistakes. People try to rectify one mistake by making another mistake. This is the way of the struggle for existence in the material world. If one in this condition is advised to take to Krishna consciousness and be happy, he does not accept such instructions. This Krishna consciousness movement is being spread all over the world just to remedy this gross ignorance. People in general are misled by blind leaders. The leaders of human society, the politicians, philosophers, and scientists are blind because they are not Krishna consciousness. Krishna conscious. According to the Bhagavad Gita 7.15, because they are bereft of all factual knowledge due to their atheistic way of life, they are actually sinful rascals and are the lowest among men. Namam duskritino muda prabhadyante naradama mayaya pratamana mayaya pratajana jnanashramam bhavam asrita. Those miscreants
Read. You complete that.
those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of their atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Such people never surrender.
Namam Vishwatno Mudha. Prapadanti Naradama Maya Pratagyana Asam Bhagavad. Why we are struggling in the verse? We have already studied this in Bhagavad Gita. Namam Vishwatno Mudha. 4 types of people will never surrender to me. One who is very foolish. Mudha means a donkey. From morning to evening, he will only work. For him, work is worship. So much of work. He doesn't get time even to study also. Struggle so much. Mudha. Then Naradhama, born in a very high class family, but still wasting his time. Maya Pratyagyan, whose knowledge, for him everything is Maya. Even Lord's appearance is, for Lord's body is also made up of Maya. That's what he thinks. Asuram Bhavam Ashita, he thinks himself as God. So such 4 types of people can never understand God. He's just struggling. Okay, Aruna, read for me.
Hare Krishna. Such people never surrender to Krishna and they oppose the endeavor of those who wish to take Krishna's shelter. When such atheists become leaders of society, the entire atmosphere is surcharged with nuisance. In such a condition, people do not become very enthusiastic to receive this Krishna consciousness movement. Just as a diseased person suffering from jaundice does not relish the taste of sugar candy. However, one must know that for jaundice, sugar candy is the only specific medicine. Similarly, in the present confused state of humanity, Krishna consciousness The chanting of the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is also a chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Voice is not heard. Shilpa, read from here. I think there is connectivity problem for Aruna. You read.
I'll read.
Although Krishna consciousness may not be very palatable for a deceased person, Srila Rupa Goswami nonetheless advises that if one wants to be cured of the material disease, he must take it through with great care and attention. One begins his treatment by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because by chanting this holy name of the Lord, a person in the material condition will be relieved from all misconceptions. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. Avidya, a misconception about one's spiritual identity, provides the foundation of ahankara or false ego within the heart. The real disease in the heart, the real disease is in the heart. If the mind is cleansed, however, if consciousness is cleansed, a person cannot be harmed by the material disease. To cleanse the mind and the heart from all misconception, one should take this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This both this is both easy and beneficial. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one is immediately freed from the blazing fire of material existence. There are three stages in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Or the offensive stage, the stage of lessening offenses, and the pure stage. When a neophyte takes to the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he generally commits many offenses. There are 10 basic offenses, and if the devotee avoids this, he can glimpse the next stage, which is situated between offensive chanting and pure chanting. When one attains the pure stage, he is immediately liberated. This is called Bhava Maha Davagni.
The moment we chant, what happens? Our tendency, offensive tendency, automatically slowly goes away. Okay.
As soon as one is liberated from the blazing fire of material existence, he can relish the taste of transcendental life. The conclusion is that in order to get freed from the material disease, one must take to the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for creating an atmosphere in which people can take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. One must begin with faith, and when the faith is increased by chanting, a person can become a member of the society. We are sending Sankirtana parties all over the world, and they are experiencing that even in the remotest part of the world where there is no knowledge of Krishna, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra attracts thousands of men to our camp. In some areas, people begin to imitate the devotees by shaving their heads and chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra only a few days after hearing the mantra. After hearing the mantra, this may be imitative, but imitation of good things is desired. Some imitators gradually become interested in being initiated by the spiritual master and offer themselves for initiation. If one is sincere and he is initiated, if one is sincere, he is initiated, and the stage is called Bhajana Kriya. One then actually engages in the service of the Lord by regularly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 16 rounds daily and refraining from illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling. By Bhajan Kriya, one attains freedom from the contamination of the materialistic life. He no longer goes to the restaurant or hotel to taste so-called palatable dishes made with meat and onions. Nor does not he care to smoke or drink tea or coffee. He not only refrains from illicit sex but avoids the sex life entirely. Nor is he is in, nor is he interested in wasting his time in speculating or gambling. In this way, it is to be understood that one is becoming cleansed of unwanted things, anartha nivritti. The word anartha refers to unwanted things, and anarthas are vanquished when one becomes attached to the Krishna consciousness moment. When a person relieved from unwanted things, he becomes fixed in executing his Krishna activities. Indeed, he becomes attached to such activities and experience ecstatic, uh, ecstatic, Mataji, how to read this word?
Hmm?
How to read this word? Ecstaty. Ecstaty.
This ecstasy, no?
Ecstasy.
Ecstasy, right. In executing devotional service, this is called bhava, the preliminary awakening of dormant love of Godhead. Thus, this conditioned soul becomes free from material existence and loses interest in the bodily conception of life, including material opulence, the material knowledge and material attraction of all varieties. At such a time, one can understand who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is and what his Maya is. Although Maya may be present, it cannot disturb a devotee once he attains the Bhava stage. This is because the devotee can see the real position of Maya. Maya means forgetfulness of Krishna, and forgetfulness of Krishna and Krishna consciousness stand side by side like light and shadow. If one remains in shadow, he cannot enjoy the facilities offered by light. And if one remains in light, he cannot be disturbed by the darkness of shadow. By taking to Krishna consciousness, one gradually becomes liberated and remains in light. Indeed, he does not even touch the darkness, as confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 22.31. Krishna Surya Sama Maya Haya Andhakara Yahan Krishna Sahan Nahi Maya Mayara Adhikara. Krishna is compared to sunshine and Maya is compared to darkness. Whenever there is sunshine, there cannot be darkness. As soon as one takes to Krishna consciousness, the darkness of illusion, the influence of the external energy will immediately vanish. Hare Krishna.
Where did you read this word ecstasy? Because somebody came, I was talking to them. Okay. Where did you read this word ecstasy? I missed the paragraph.
When a person relieved from unwanted things, Chaitanya.
He becomes fixed in executing the sugar. Indeed, he becomes attached to such and experience ecstasy. Okay. So now here, what is the Bhava stage? We have 9 stages in devotional service. Ado Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti. Then comes Ruchi, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. So what is this Bhava? When he's completely removed of all the unwanted things, he's completely fixed to devotional service. He can experience Bhava. Now we are going to study nectar of devotion. That very nicely it has been said. What is Bhava? Bhava is the first ray of Krishna Prema experienced. Experiencing of the first ray. Don't say that I am also in Bhava. No, I cry. Bhava only comes after completely all the anarthas is gone. So we all are in that stage now. We are in the stage of removing our anarthas. Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Vibhuti. And in that, if you progress, it is Nishtha. You are fixed up in devotional service. Your taste in devotional service increases. Your asakti in Lord increases. That is how Bhava and Prema is experienced. The words which is put is Krishna Surya Saman, Maya hai andhakar, jahat isme kaha nahi, Maya adhikar. Krishna Surya Saman, where there is brightness, there is a question of darkness. The moment you on the light, you're darkness, isn't it? The room may be dark for thousands of years. But the moment you on the light, the darkness is not counted. The same way. A jiva may be in ignorance for many, many lifetimes. But the moment he surrenders to Krishna, Krishna Surya Saman, Maya hai andhakar. yaha Krishna taha nahi payadika. So the moment we surrender to Krishna, then the ignorance, the process of the removal of ignorance has started. Cheto Darpanam has started. In stop. So Friday class, we'll try to do 8th and 9th verse. Then last, next Monday. Monday or maybe Wednesday, we'll be taking the last 2 verses. So that will end your lecture of instructions. Okay, then we start with Ishu Upanishad. Now all these things are going to go in the fast track. We'll spend more time in lecture of devotion. Okay, any questions? You can ask. Anyhow, we are doing slow track only, but our chapters are very small. So I mentioned 2 yatras. If you want, you can join the yatras. We're going to Srinath Yatra, Dakur Srinathji, Kankroli. They are all the places where the original Dwarka deities are from Dakur. And they were brought, they stopped at Kankroli. So, the story behind it. So then we are going to go to Vrindavan Yatra. There we are going to take darshan of Samadhi of the Goswami Maharaj. Those who have not come, so if you want to join, you can tell. Hare Krishna. Any questions, Shilpa?